Hey YouTube, Kira Qualia here, bringing you guys my Darkface Mega Colony deck profile for the end of September, beginning of October 2016. It's a really fun deck, still missing maybe two things for the Stride Zone at most, but other than that, the deck is done, so I thought I'd bring you guys the deck profile. So let's go ahead and jump right in. For strides, I sadly only have two Darkface at the moment, but he is the stride that has the ability to stop your opponent's rear guards from standing, and they also stop it from giving special abilities like triggers to those rear guards. So if you attack and they damage check a stand trigger, they can't give the stand or power effects to your rear guard, really shutting them down because that's basically what they have to go off of to restand their units. Otherwise they gotta call over them for other skills. It's a very easy skill to manipulate, and they also lose the intercept ability, so you can basically completely shut down their grade 2s if you paralyze them. And I also run 4 Stun Beetle. This stops the Vanguard from standing or your opponent riding over it. Would replace 2 of the Stun Beetle for 2 more Darkface if I had the 2 Darkface, but for now running this at 4 is probably your best key play to go for. And I also run 2 Struggle Dipper. He gains power to your units for all of your opponent's rest units. So a good first turn stride if you want to go pressure style with your stride zone. And I also run 2 Paraspear. This card's for the draw power for your first stride. Basically, when you stride in this unit, you rest all your opponent's unit, and if they rest 3 or more units, you draw a card, and this unit gets plus 5,000. She'll be attacking for 31 with the Vanguard with, unless they have a PG, takes a good amount to guard with. Using a Screw You, they have to, drop the 1. It's still a 1 to pass, so they'll really use up their hand against this guy. And I also run 1 Obiturandus. He is the probably the key card of this deck. Would also want another one of these if I end up getting it. I'll show you what I replace for it if I do get a second one. But he's the Counterblast 2. Choose a card from your hand and discard it. Your opponent cannot call cards to the field to rear into the end of their opponent's next turn. So you can stop decks like Royal Paladin, Pale Moon, Grand Blue from calling units, especially ones that have no field, so they basically can only attack with their Vanguard next turn from the Hollow effect or the Magia effect. This locks that down completely. And for G-Guardians, I run 2 Grisport. This is the one that rests their back row when the Vanguard attacks, so it gets rid of cards that gain boost effects or big column boosts. Completely shuts that down, so it's good in a lot of decks. Against a lot of decks. And I also run 3 Scarabags to finish off, running 5 G-Guardians, basically because there are times when you need G-Guardian power more than this effect. Don't get me wrong, this effect is good, but it's situational. The Vanguard has to attack, so you still need G-Guardians at times that will stop big columns. If I was going to run another Obiturandus, I would take out 1 Scarabags, making it down to the 4 standard G-Guardians, though. And now onto the main deck. I run 4 Darkface. He's your main grade 3 of the deck. He's got the Counterblast 1. When you stride over it, you choose 2 of your opponent's rear guards. Those units cannot stand and during your opponent's next turn, and they get the effect if they're still rest during the next turn, you draw a card for each one. So it helps with Mega Colony keeping their hand consistency. And the GB2 effect is Soul Blast 2. When your opponent calls a rear guard, you can rest that unit. So if they call a big unit that's key to their play, you can rest it using Darkface. And I also run 4 Cyclone. He is the Break Ride. Probably the best backup grade 3 in my opinion. When you Break Ride over it, you rest all of your opponent's units, and they cannot stand any of their units during their next turn, including the Vanguard, so you completely shut them down unless they have another key method to get all their units restood. And for grade 2s, I run 4 Sweet Cocktail. It's the card when you boost it, you can Counterblast 1, choose one of their rear guards, rest it, and it cannot stand during their next turn, and it can also not intercept, and it also has the end turn effect if it's still resting, draw a card. So she's good for that effect. If you go with her first, you'll stop an intercept on your opponent's terms, and also it equals more pressure to the Vanguard if you boost with the 16k max, and if they were just going to intercept and then guard with another 5k, you can shut down that play completely. And I also run 4 Punish Stag. This is the card specifically for Darkface. When it's placed on rear, it gets plus 2,000, and you choose one of your opponent's rear guards until the end of their next turn. It gets, at the end of the turn, if this unit is rest, your opponent draws a card, and that unit cannot stand during your opponent's next stand phase. So good 11k attacker on its own, and it also has the same draw effect as well. And I also run 3 Arista Scythe. It has the Dark Device ability. When it attacks, this unit gets plus 2,000 till the end of the turn, so you can attack with the Vanguard for 16k total if you're boosting with the starter. It's not a GB effect as well. All you have to do is go off the Dark Device effect of having everything in that column at rest. For grade 1s, I run 4-star Shield. It's the unflip Perfect Guard for Mega Colony. This deck does counterblast a lot, so you definitely have to run this as your Perfect Guard. 4 Little Dorcas for easy stride power with this unit. Also search out Darkface when you need it, so if you want to go into the Break Ride first, use this, reveal the Break Ride, search Darkface, then discard a card. 4 Lefur Toe. This is the card that also has countercharge power, and it also stops an opponent from intercepting if this unit's in the same column as that unit, also with the Dark Device ability again. And I also run 2 Scarlet Venom. When this unit is placed on rear guard, it gets plus 2,000 to the end of the turn for each of your opponent's unit in the same column as this unit. And it also has Dark Device as well. So good power column effect. And for grade 0s, your starter is the new Rosenberg. It has the rest effect to rest one of your opponent's units, so you can take advantage of that effect. And it also has the Put into Soul, Stop Intercept ability for a rear guard during their next turn. And it's also the Dark Device ability. And then for crits, I run 4 of the Bomb Scissor. It's the hollow crit where you put in the soul, it gets plus 5,000, draw a card. Gotta run that. Definitely it helps build up the soul and gives power to your Darkface attacks. And then 4 Bad Drip, making it 8 crit. I like Ingo Chauffeur as the draw trigger, just because hand consistency really helps. And 4 Cocoon Healer to finish off the heal triggers. So yeah, that's it for the deck profile. Hope you guys enjoyed. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and Kira Qualia out.